But here's what everybody uses today. We use what you call protein digestibility corrective amino acid score. That's what we use today. And as you can see, the bottom line is a given protein cannot fully meet the body's essential amino acid requirements when its digestible corrected amino acid score is less than 100%. And of course, every vegetable is less than 100%. So eating just vegetables and plant sources, you will not be able to. The only reason this one says 100 is because it's a supplement. It's an isolate, soy protein isolate that is actually a supplement. So that's the only way you can get there. But you're not going to get there eating any of these individual type plants, where of course, obviously, and this isn't rocket science for for all of us here, but I mean, the only single source in the world that can sustain life is milk. I mean, that's all a baby gets if you're breastfeeding for years. I mean, for months. So, I mean, we know that can sustain life because it's got the protein, carbs, and fats, and it's got all the other different things that can sustain life, at least for a while. So we know that's going to always have the highest biological value, and especially the whey portion of the milk will have the highest of anything without a doubt, because it has it closest matches the essential amino acids in a human that we need as humans. Now, the reason this is so low in plant proteins, they're less digestible. I'm not telling you anything you already don't know. And that's because they're the presence of what we call anti-nutritional factors. So phytates. Phytates are part of plants that actually block them from being broken down, so they go right through you. So that's why when you eat a ton of fiber, gaseous things happen because your body's not absorbing that stuff that's in there. It's actually getting pushed through, and your bacteria gets to use it. Okay, and there's also bonds. There's actually amino acid bonds that we can't break down, right? And then what we call protease inhibitors that stop protein, the enzyme that breaks down proteins. Those things are actually in vegetables and plant sources. All right, and there's also, obviously, we already saw this, a lower amino acid score, so the biological value is lower. But here's the other problem. The other problem is if they do get into your body, they're so spread out in a different way, we actually end up with a higher splanchnic extraction. And what I mean by that is that your liver gets first choice of this thing. It's not going to the muscle. It's actually going into the liver, and the liver decides to send this amino, this amino, this amino there. So there's a greater oxidation rate with plant proteins than there are with animal proteins. So no one can argue the fact that they're significantly inferior. But there's a caveat. So I just put this up here. This is just for your own information. I just kind of put some good stuff in here for you. If you look at grains, right? So here, let's take a look at plant proteins versus animal proteins. You can see that animal proteins are well above the needs of any human being here, right? For whey, casein, milk, beef, more the percentage of everything is there, right? Plants are always going to be low in something. So the essential amino acid that grains are low in are lysine, and you're only as good as your lowest amino acid. So you may have everything you need of all the other amino acids, but you're only as good as the weak link. So the rest of them are just thrown away then. They're all oxidized because you don't have enough essential amino acids to satisfy the human structure. So keep that in mind there. And then if you look at lentils, they have a different amino. So your methionine and cysteine are low in those all the way across here, and your beans and lentils, and grains are low in lysine, but they're high in the other ones. So combining, you can make it work.